Hey guys, it's time for another S650 video. On this video, we're going to be talking about oil catch cans, what they are, and why you should install them on your vehicle. So this is my 2024 S650 Mustang GT. It's got the Roush supercharger installed on it. We've done a couple other things to the vehicle, but the topic of this video is going to be oil catch cans. We have both the driver's side and passenger side oil catch cans installed on the car. So basically what an oil catch can is, your PCV system is designed to vent crankcase pressures from the engine and reburn them back into the intake. So simply, when enough pressure has built up in the crankcase of the engine, the PCV valve will be forced to come up due to that pressure increase, and then that excess pressure is going to be routed right back into the intake so it can be burned, because with that excess pressure is going to be oil vapor, fuel vapor, condensation, just all sorts of nasty stuff that the EPA doesn't want being vented to the atmosphere. So the engine is forced to reburn it. So you have two sides of your PCV system. You have your driver's side and your passenger side. The passenger side is going to operate when the engine is under vacuum. So when the throttle plates are more or less closed and there's a pressure differential between, you have atmospheric pressure in front of the throttle and you have less than atmospheric pressure, so less than 14.7 psi behind the throttle plate. That's going to force vapors to be pulled into the intake and then burned by the engine. The driver's side kind of operates more or less when the engine is not under vacuum. You typically don't get as much in the driver's side because for most street driving applications, your engine's going to be in vacuum a lot more of the time than it's not. But both these systems operate in the way that the oil is going to come up out of the valve cover ports. The vapor is going to flow to the catch can, and then the catch can is going to catch as much of that mixture, that blow by, that fuel, water, oil mixture. The vapors are going to flow into the catch can and then condense and settle to the bottom of the can, and hopefully most of what's being returned back to the engine is mostly just more or less, we'll say, neutral air. There's still going to be contaminants in there. You can't get 100% of everything before it comes back into the engine. The only way to stop those gases and vapors from going back into the engine is to vent your catch cans to the atmosphere. So you'd still have your catch can coming out of the valve cover, go in there, catch what it needs to catch, and then after that you would just open this up to like an open filter, like a little tiny screen filter, and that'll allow you to get all that excess pressure out of the engine. Now the benefits to running an open air catch can setup versus what we have here is a closed system, which it goes back into the engine, is that crankcase pressure. That pressure, it gives it somewhere to go. When that crankcase pressure builds up, yes, it's going to want to go, be pulled back under the vacuum, but you're not really getting rid of, you're not fixing the problem. You've got a lot of crankcase pressure. Give it a path of least resistance to go, which would be outside the engine. That's always going to be more beneficial to the engine itself. Now these catch cans are made by UPR. They have high quality braided lines, fittings, and the catch cans themselves made out of nice materials. Fit super well, and we actually use this car to help design their catch can setup specifically for the Roush Supercharged S650s. But they have catch can setups for your naturally aspirated cars as well. So definitely check them out. Now, what are some of the benefits that running catch cans will do for you? Well, increase the performance and longevity of your engine. By not allowing all that extra fuel vapor, oil vapor, and water vapor into the engine, you're not getting as much carbon buildup on your intake track, intake valves, combustion chamber, and in doing so, that's going to naturally improve or maintain performance. Whereas if you have a lot of buildup, you're not going to be breathing as well, you're not going to be combusting as well, and therefore you're not going to be making as much power as efficiently as you could, which is also going to hurt your fuel economy. But another reason you want those catch cans in line with the PCV system specifically is for that oil vapor. Now that oil vapor, when it gets back in the intake system, not only does it clog it up and carbon it up and reduce the effectiveness of the intake system and its breathing ability, but oil, once it gets into the combustion chamber and it mixes with the fuel, it drastically reduces the octane rating of that mixture. So let's say you're running 93 octane, you're naturally aspirated. Having the octane drop just a little bit due to that oil mixing in there, which is naturally going to happen just due to the operation of the engine, you're going to always have some blow by, so you're always going to have some oil vapor getting in there. Well, lowering that octane rating is not ideal. You're not going to produce peak power and maintain and produce peak efficiency. When you're in a supercharged or boosted application, that becomes even more of a problem. It's more critical to have a stable octane rating when you're boosted because of the cylinder pressures that you're experiencing in a boosted application over a naturally aspirated application. And one thing you definitely don't want your engine experiencing, especially while you're boosted, is engine knock. And keeping all that oil vapor and fuel vapor out of the engine as much as possible will definitely help your engine live a long, happy life, even in a boosted application such as this. I hope you found this video extremely helpful. Drop some comments down below. Throw in your input. It's always good to hear some feedback from the audience. And if you're not a subscriber, definitely hit the subscribe button down below. I would greatly appreciate it. And if there are any more videos or topics of discussion that you want me to bring up on the channel, definitely drop those in the comments down below as well. I read every comment. So anything I see down there, if it's something that I can do or a question that I can answer or make a video to address a concern or an issue or something that you guys are seeing, I'll definitely do my best to make that happen.